Hey guys, Batates here. Welcome to my Vermintide 2 Hero Walkthrough series. Now today we're talking about Kerillian. Kerillian is a nasty elf that is just as nasty on the battlefield, and as of this recording she's still quite overpowered, so when you're watching this maybe she would have had a nerf, so keep in mind that some of these abilities might change slightly, or some of the talents or some of the weapon damages will change, but as of right now she is probably the strongest hero in the game, constantly topping those damage numbers and kill numbers and, well, everything numbers. So the Waystalker is the first advanced class that you have unlocked. That's unlocked from the start, and it is a ranger. It's all about using your ranged weapons to devastating effect. Then at level 7 you unlock the Handmaiden. Now this switches it up. It's all about using melee to devastating effect to shield and help your brethren. And then we have the Shade, which is the rogue. It's all about getting behind enemies and just unleashing the pain. So let's start by talking about the Waystalker. Kerillian regenerates health over time, which is quite odd. I would expect that to be in the Handmaiden, but it is very, very strong, especially in a game where health is a vital resource. Health packs are not meant to be squandered, so being able to regenerate your health over time is very, very useful, and with the right talents you can apply this to your team as well. So don't know why this class is so strong, but it is. Double ammo capacity. Now this is what makes the almost exclusive range focus possible, because some bows have 50, like the Swift bow has 50 ammo, and that will mean that you have 100 to play around with at all times, and then with some talents you basically always regenerating that ammo back. You have no range damage fall off, of course, and you can zoom in with certain bows. Now the career skill is True Shot Volley, and this will insta kill those rot heads and most specials as well. And that will mean that as soon as you see them, you panic and press F and you will kill them. It also regenerates ammo with certain talents, which will mean that you'll never run out of ammo. Then you have the Handmaiden. Increases dodge distance. That's when you press back and space, or left and space, or right and space. You'll dodge away from attacks, and you can dodge away from specials trying to leap on you, or leeches trying to drain you. You can dodge away from that, and this makes it even easier to dodge away from attacks. So you get in there, you poke in with your spear or whatever weapon you're using, you deal that damage and you dodge out before you can be surrounded. Everyone can regenerate stamina more readily around you as well, so if you are with a team that has a Ironbreaker or has a Foot Knight, that's what you want to be using, that stamina regeneration aura. Not that you can use it, but I mean like using Handmaiden because you have that on your team. Now, uninterruptible revive, that will mean that you're going to be the revive bitch basically. And with some talents, you can be very hard to kill if you're the last one standing. I think it's 50% decreased damage, which is quite a lot if you're the last one standing, and you just go around reviving everyone. And this is meant to be the savior of the team. And dash, not very useful of a skill. It helps you get out of trouble, it helps you get into trouble, catch up to those pack rats, you know, that are running away. But without the talents, it doesn't do any damage. It just knocks little enemies down and stuns briefly bigger enemies. But with the right talents, you can deal damage with it, and it recharges very, very quickly. So you can use this quite often. Now, the Shade. 50% additional damage when attacking enemies from behind. This is huge. You're basically adding, you know, half extra damage to enemies if you're behind, and with a talent, it'll become double damage from behind, which is a lot. And you can get behind enemies fairly easily with Infiltrate, which makes you undetectable. You can pass through enemies or walk straight through them. And if you attack while you're breaking out of stealth, you'll deal a considerable amount of damage, which doesn't say here for whatever reason. And also there's some bonuses that we'll go through later, but the main thing is critical hit backstabs instantly slay man-sized enemies. So if you're facing those massive rot helms, if you're facing any of the enemies here that you see here, it'll instantly slay them with a critical hit. Insta-slay. And I can't express just how strong that is. It is crazy strong. But anyway, you want to go a crit build with the Shade. And this is probably one of my favorite advanced classes, because if you've got the right crit gear, you will be taking out those rot helms very quickly, be taking out these enemies very quickly and dealing a considerable amount of damage. But let's jump into the Waystalker here. And let's jump into the talents. So you have an attack speed increase of 5%, you have a critical hit chance increased by 5%, and you have a stamina regeneration by 30%. It's pretty much this every time. Now, 5% increased attack speed doesn't mean 5% extra damage, because you won't be on a character for the whole time. You'll be dodging, ducking, weaving. You won't be just hitting a guy constantly, which will give you that 5% extra damage. This, however, will add more damage, because it's 5% extra chance to crit, so you might only take one swing at an enemy, but if it's a crit, that's it. It's dead. Most times, anyway, when you're talking about the rabble. So critical hit will also benefit a lot of other things that you have going for you here. So I would recommend this most of the time. You don't want to be in stamina regeneration territory with this class. You want to be at range. So don't worry too much about this unless, you know, you find yourself getting into melee a lot, in which case don't use this class. Returns ammunition on boss death. Now this combined with this regeneration also recovers 1 arrow, and combined with true shot volley recovers 50% of your maximum ammo will basically mean you never run out of ammo if you decide to go down that path. While above 25% health, Kerillian gains 30% additional power when she crits. This will not proc if you have 2 grimoires, because your health is at 25% when you have 2 grimoires, so keep that in mind. And increases bonus of headshot damage by 50. I usually go this. Or this. One of the two. Alright. Kerillian health regeneration is increased. This benefits only you, but it does increase your health regen. Regeneration also recovers 1 arrow of bolt. You aren't out of combat enough to make this really that useful, to be honest. If you're out of combat for a long time to fully regenerate, you're probably going to get swarmed by some rats or by some rot heads. So you don't want to stay in combat that long. You want to keep moving, and 1 arrow, 1 bolt is really not going to be that much, considering you have, you know, 100 ammo with your swift bow. So you probably want to get this. Help the team. If the team's alive, you're alive, you finish the mission, you get the most experience and the best loot. If one of you guys drops, you're at a considerable disadvantage. It's a team game, you need all 4 people up to help you get through the mission. So helping everyone regenerate is very useful. And plus, they probably won't mind the fact that you're taking all the kills as well, if you at least heal them up. Critical hits grant temporary health. Critical hit chance increase. Temporary health. These 2 together, please. Until you have more crit gear though, probably use this one here. Kills grant temporary health, you'll be killing a lot. Temporary health is amazing because it will be burnt before your actual health is burnt. This I will almost never recommend. There's not that many bosses that you have to deal with, and it's basically like just drinking a potion after you kill a boss. Whereas this will stop you actually taking damage from the boss. Reduces the cooldown of true shot volley, very, very useful. This is a very, very useful ability. Recovers health, if that's something you need, but you have regeneration, so you probably don't need to use this that much. This is what I think is the best. 50% of your maximum ammo. If you have 100 ammo, you recover 50 ammo, and you can use this quite often. So this is a, hey, I need more ammo button. Amazing. Once you get this, the class will change for you. You will be able to non-stop fire, and I will show you exactly what I mean. We'll go the swift bow. It has 100 ammo, it normally has 50, but because of this class you get double, and you can just go nuts like this constantly. Nothing will be able to escape your arrows. You're fairly accurate with the swift bow. You're very swift. You never have to reload. And if you hold in right click, you do a little bit more damage. when you do land your arrow, but it will slow you down. So you can move around, fire, and when you get low on ammo, just look at this guy, it's a pincushion right now. And when you get low on arrow, you press F and you will launch off your homing, white hot arrows that will almost insta-kill anything. And now you have all your ammo back, so you can keep going. How good is this? So that's the combo. Now, let's have a look at the Handmaiden. What does the Handmaiden have, you ask? Well, has an extra stamina shield, which is extra 2 stamina, block area, and ammunition amount. Now, you don't want to go ammo amount, you're not a ranged class with this. You probably want to go the effective area of block and pushes, because if you notice with some weapons, have a look at the top left where it says stamina on the Way Watcher daggers. It says stamina 2 and it has this little shield icon. That will show you the effective block area where you can block. So anything with the spear around 90 degrees will be blocked. With the daggers, it's only directly in front of you that will be blocked. Now this will increase that area, which is very useful for this class especially. Now, clears any wounds and converts any temporary health to permanent health when bosses die. This is really good, especially with these. Kills grant temporary health and critical hits grant temporary health. But with this particular advanced class, you probably want to go Kane's Thirst because you won't be going a crit build, you're going more of a stamina build. Increases hero power by 10% but reduces attack speed. This is surprisingly useful because you don't need attack speed with this class. What you will be doing is you'll be using that spear and you will be hitting, dodging back, hitting, dodging to the side, hitting, so you don't need that attack speed. Talents. Reduces damage taken by 50% when your last hero is standing. Now I wish they didn't have 3 really useful ones in a row, but we talked about this before. If you are that person that is going to use your uninterruptible revives a lot, finding yourself on very high difficulty, pick this up. Because taking half damage when your last hero standing is incredibly useful when you're trying to pick up people and stop them from dying. You will become the hero of the party with Defiance. Now, increases movement speed. This is only fun if you want to run faster than everyone in your party and be like, hey, keep up you slowpokes. But overall, you have the increased dodge distance. You really don't need this too much. Further increases dodge distance by 5%. 5% is almost nothing. You will not notice this. Increases stamina regeneration speed by additional 30%. This is the one. Critical hits, grant temporary health. No, this is what you want. Kerillian disappears from enemy perception for 3 seconds after using dash. This is probably not the way you want to play. Now, I'm making an assumption here, but with this class, you want to be getting in there and using your stamina. And if you disappear from perception, the damage dealing classes that you have with you, the ones that are trying to avoid having to use their stamina, will suddenly need to because you're no longer a target to the enemies. So this is interesting. If you want to go pure damage, maybe, but otherwise, this is what you want. Bladedancer. Dash now deals damage to enemies as Kerillian passes through them, but stuns less. It's not that much less of a stun, and it deals a considerable amount of damage, and you can use this quite often, and I'll show you in a second, or reduces the cooldown by 1/3. It's already got a pretty low cooldown. Let me show you. This is the normal dash. Press F, boom. And now look at that regenerate. That purple bar, bottom, middle, look at that regenerate. That goes up very fast. And now I'm attacking a creature, which will bring up the bar even faster. I'm taking damage, it brings it up even faster. So probably around now, I could use it again in a normal fight. Which would mean that I'm dealing more damage, I'm knocking them back, a big group of enemies over there, bam, knock all the way through them, dodging around, using my dodge, doing a lot of damage. And that's what this class is about. So, let's go to one of my favorites, the Shade. Hello, Mr. Shade. Alright, Mr. Shade, show me what you got. You've got increased stamina regeneration speed. Don't worry too much about that. Increased attack speed. And increased dodge range. I personally prefer the attack speed because the more you're attacking, the more chance of crit, more chance of insta-kill. And I'll show you that in a second because, you ready for this? Yeah. The faster you attack, the more crits you get. There's a crit, there's another crit, there's another crit, there's another crit. I don't even have crit gear on. There's another crit, there's another crit. Okay? That will all be insta-kills with the dual daggers. Now, increased movement speed, don't really need that. Once again, that's only for like, keep up, sillies. Why are you walking so slow? Increases damage taken by enemies, disabling Kerillian. So if you have a pack rat that is disabling you, they will take extra damage from your team. So you'll be able to be knocked out of that BS. Increased power by 25% when the party holds at least one grimoire. Very, very useful. Can't explain how useful this is without telling you the numbers. If you're doing 100 damage, you're going to be doing 125 if you have that grimoire. So, get this skill, because you're going to get grimoires. You don't know where they are at this stage of the game. Just get it. Murderous Prowess both increased to 100%. Was 50, now it's 100. You're going to be behind them. You're going to be doing backstab damage. Get this skill. This skill is amazing. This is a backstab normally, about here. That will count as extra damage. With that skill, this will count as a backstab. Which, if you're having trouble getting those backstabs off, Mistress of Sacrifice is actually pretty good. Murderous Prowess backstabs now return 1 bolt ammo. 1 ammo, 2 ammo, 3 ammo, 4 ammo, 5 ammo, 6 ammo, 7 ammo. Yeah. You can see how that could be useful. So, 3 very useful skills. We've been through these. You know what they are. You want to probably, once you get crit gear, go with a Weave Bond. Increases duration. This is not that useful. With Infiltrate, you want to get behind something and start attacking. You don't need an extra 5 seconds. Because that's an extra 5 seconds of people not on you, which means the 3 will have more trouble. Stealth no longer breaks when firing a ranged weapon, and it reduces cooldown. So I use Shadow Hunter for a lot of time because I would use this exclusive shade weapon while I'm invisible. And then once the duration is nearly up, you can see I'm invisible now, the duration is nearly up, I get behind them and deal the damage. Now, because these are training dummies, I'm not popping out of invisibility, but what you would do is you'd pop out invisibility with one of those big hits that you saw there. So popping out of invisibility and dealing damage will do increased damage, which it doesn't say for whatever reason. But with that skill, I would be invisible, launching off damage, getting close, and then bam, 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 I'd be killing everything. Very, very, very useful. The Shade wants fast attacking weapons, so dual daggers. You also have the sword and dagger option, which adds a bit more sweep to your attacks, but you do attack a little slower. You also have a wider arc for defending, and you have a sweep for these attacks here, for your charge attacks. With the daggers, the charge attack almost always goes for the head, so you will get around armor with these dual daggers. So, surprisingly enough, dual daggers are pretty good against armor. Then you have the double swords, very sweep heavy. You're going to hit a lot of enemies in a row with these. You will not pierce armor though, unless you charge, like so. Now, Waydancer Blade, this hits everything in an arc. So if you want to attack slower but hit everyone around you, this is a weapon for you. Will not pierce armor unless you charge it. Then you have the spear. Now this is my absolute favorite weapon. You have very high amount of range with it. Look at that range. Absolutely crazy. You want to go for head. You want to get around that armor. Very easy, very accurate. If you charge it, you can get through armor or you can sweep. Very useful weapon. high block amount of stamina and a high radius around you that you can block things. You got the Warblade, which is a one-handed weapon. You'll replace this pretty quickly. It's fast, it sweeps, you can get through armor. Then you have the Glaive. It's a big axe, gets through armor with a normal attack, sweeps, and does quite a bit of damage. It's very slow though. With the ranged weapons, we have the Shade exclusive repeating crossbow. Only Shades can use this, and it is basically like an assault rifle. Standard left click, you attack about this speed, and then if I hold right click, you get more accurate, and it's 3 fire bursts that you can keep launching off until you run out of ammo. Low ammo count, but very useful. Especially when you go invisible. Now you have the hunting bow, the swift bow, which I showed you with the Wayfinder before, but this is just a very fast firing, very accurate bow. Then you have the Handmaiden. Now you can't see what it does specifically on these test dummies here, but I'll show you with a little clip. But this bow will deal poison damage to everything around where it hits. Poison will kill pretty much any rabble that it hits. It doesn't do that much initial damage, and it has very low ammo, but it's quite strong, so that's probably why it was nerfed in terms of ammo count. Now, the last bow is the Longbow, and this is your sniper. If you hold right click and shoot, it'll deal a lot of damage, very slowly, but it is extremely accurate even when firing from the hip. Lower ammo, higher damage. And that is it for all of your weapons. So let's just recap what we went through. This is your damage dealing ranged class. This is your warrior, but in a support role. This almost like a paladin, I'd say. This is almost your paladin. And this is your rogue. You unlock the Handmaiden level 7, unlock the Shade at level 12. Thanks for watching, guys. I had a lot of fun making this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and click that little bell below. And if you haven't already, be sure to join my Discord. It's full of fantastic like-minded individuals and you get to talk to me directly as well. So I'm Potates and I'll see you next time.